Thank you, Padiji. Now, as a small token of our appreciation and respect for our eminent speakers for being a part of eODISHA Summit, we have little mementos to present. May we have the mementos on the stage, please. I request the session chair, Mr. Madhusudan Padi, Shri Madhusudan Padi ji, to kindly hand over the memento to Mr. Naval Khosla, General Manager, Government Industry Solutions at IBM. To Mr. Anubhav Tyagi, Senior Solutions Specialist, SafeNet India Private Limited. To Mr. Jignesh Upadhyay, Director, Technical Sales CA Technology. And to Mr. Vidyesh Khanolkar, Head Insurance and Government Business, Asia Pacific, India and Middle East Region, Mastech Limited. I request Dr. Ravi Gupta to kindly come on stage and honor our session chair, Shri Madhusudan Padi ji. Shri Padi ji has been instrumental in the conceptualization and making this whole summit a reality at every stage. He has taken special initiatives in inviting key eminent speakers for this summit. Now, as we come to a close of this session, which has given a lot of food for thought to all of us, it's time for some food for our appetite as well. Lunch is ready, and I request all the speakers, sponsors and exhibitors to kindly head towards the bowling alley on the first floor, and for other delegates, the lunch is at the leisure hall on the first floor. I repeat, bowling alley on the first floor for speakers, sponsors and exhibitors, and leisure hall on the first floor for other delegates. It is 1:30, so it is a 1-hour lunch break. I expect all of you to come back to the same hall for our next session, that is on ICT for Inclusive Framework of E-Governance. That will start sharp at 2:30 p.m. Thank you.
So which is the government is supposed to provide through its acts. So in Marcel, I would say that though we did not have any question, but the inputs have been very succinct and to the point with respect to technology and with respect to effective electronic service delivery in a secure manner. Thank you. Three speakers and the fourth speaker talked more about service delivery. E-governance is, people think that it is more about electronic, but I think it is more about governance. We have to first think about the people, processes, and technology is the least important part in the whole process. So instead of talking about the equipments or the technology, though they are quite important, but the attitude for providing services through electronic mode is very crucial, and e-governance cannot just happen just because if we put computers in our offices. We have to work with the processes. How do we change the processes? If we try to just go through the processes which we are doing manually and ensure that every process what we are doing manually is also translated into electronic mode, then will become very inefficient and ineffective. Because in the manual process there are many redundancies and there are a lot of checks and balances. So, for example, I will give you one example. If there are people from the district, so in the revenue collection process, what we have the revenue inspectors and collection audit doing throughout the year, and at the end of the year they try to reconcile the accounts. They have got 16 different registers. Each RI is supposed to maintain 16 different registers village-wise, and also each record-wise, that is khata-wise. And these 16 registers, the Tahsildar will have also corresponding 16 registers. So now if you have an electronic mode of collection, if you are able to collect with a device and obtain the data simultaneously. You don't need to have all the system registers, and data can sync with the source data immediately, and we may have 2 or 3 registers just to see individual village or individual village or abstract things like that. So recently the revenue department has given this task to one of the agencies, and I was seeing their output. They want to have all the registers. Now, how can you have all the registers? You don't need them. But then this is all about the processes. So if you think that some registers are not required, you don't have to. You need to have them when you convert to electronic mode. So people are very critical because attitude change going to electronic mode is many people fear that going electronic will not only be difficult because they are not acquainted with computers, but also you don't know what goes inside and what will come out. So that kind of fear is there. To change that fear, we need to train people. We need to show them how things are happening, and leadership is very key in that respect. So apart from process re-engineering and changing in the attitude of the people, managing the change is very crucial in success of any governance project. So now when we have this right to public service delivery act, and which gives like if there is any sort of lacuna or any sort of delay, then the concerned officer has to bear the fine, like similar to right to Information Act RTI. So here also there is penalty clause, and these penalties can become very heavy, and so there is a need that how do we monitor that what is happening at what place. Manually it is just impossible with the sheer number of transactions that is happening over every day. We will not be able to monitor. So there is a need to go use IT as a lever to provide services, and so there is, and as I mentioned little earlier, the IT Act of 2000, which is amendment and electronic service delivery rules that are coming, that have come, they provide all the legal backup for providing services electronically with digital signature, with barcode, things like that. So those who are coming, those are from Ganjam and Bhaiban, where eODISHA pilots are running, where about 1.5 lakh certificates have been issued since May 2012, and they will know the kind of satisfaction that the citizens have. When they apply, they get a SMS that your application has been received. When the processing is done and it is the certificate is approved by the person, that they get a SMS that your certificate has been approved. So they, at every trace they can track. They can also track with their ID, and this is possible because of the hard work that has been put in by the officers at the Tahsil, and
discussion among the members on the dais.
Issued by government, so that notification is there, and most of the agencies are now accepting digital signature documents. In Odisha, we are in eODISHA, we are actually issuing digitally signed documents at the CSC end-to-end computerization, where computers, actually the process is totally moving online from one end to another end. The beneficiary of the citizen doesn't have to visit the tahsil to get his or her residence certificate or caste certificate or this certificate. One can apply at the CSC or from his home and can get the certificate within the stipulated time. Now the Public Service Delivery Act has also been enacted. So, but as mentioned by earlier speakers, securing these are very important and making the data like repositories safe, secure, very important. Now we'll have questions. We will take questions. We have about 15-20 minutes. We can take about 7 questions, 7 to 8 questions in that time. So I would request somebody is raising hand to pass on the mic and so that this can be heard by everybody. And you can pinpoint as to whom you want to ask questions so that the concerned panel is clear. There is amendment in 2008 and electronic service delivery rules that has now been promulgated in many states, which is going to notify them shortly. Already we have got the approval from the concerned departments, and now because of these enactments, digital signature,
lay down the standards and guidelines and monitor them as to how the service delivery should happen. But overall delivery, I think, of the services is an industry program. So whatever the cost the government has spent to build that program, and what gain they have made is 53% ROI. But if you look at it as outcome, which has been measured through various social audits, 15 lakh students belonging to the underprivileged sections in the state of Maharashtra are today able to focus more on their academics, on their studies, and that has led to a huge surge in their final academic outcomes which they are achieving. Yes, in terms of pass percentages, in terms of how they are performing in their exams, how long are they continuing and not dropping out. I think those are the key outcomes. So, firstly, we should at all levels try and differentiate between what is effective service delivery and what is efficient. Okay. And typically what we have seen is mostly we tend to focus on efficient service delivery and not on effective service delivery. In fact, one of the examples I would definitely like to state is from the state of Odisha itself, where we had the good fortune to be involved in a program to control the dropouts among certain underprivileged sections of girl students in certain backward regions of the state. And one way the program was measured was in terms of cost and again ROI and how much is it costing to deliver it to so many students and so on. But the outcome measures after the social audits and so on were done were tremendous. Like one thing is the girls are continuing longer in their schools, but it is also leading to delay in marriages. Marriage age of those girls is getting delayed because they are continuing in school. So I think these are the kind of things which we need to focus on right from the beginning when we are designing the whole service and the whole delivery of that to ensure that they are effective and not just efficient. Otherwise, we can all pride ourselves on saying that we designed a very efficient service, it works 100% of the time and so on and so forth. But is it really effective? I think that thought process is something which we have gained as an insight from the various programs that we have been involved in. The other insight which I would like to share is, the difference between service delivery and service consumption. Okay. So we all feel happy that we have, designed a good service, put in the right elements of technology, and it is being delivered. But is it being consumed by the target population and the target audience with the same effectiveness? And it is that consumption which will lead to those outcomes. If you are just delivering a service effectively, but the consumption is not that effective, okay, we are not going to get those outcomes. We will put all our ticks in the box saying, the service has been designed, the programs are running, etc., etc. But they are not being consumed the way they need to. Okay. So we need to have this perspective not only in the industry ecosystem but also in the government decision makers, that service delivery is all cost. Okay? It is cost you pay out for various vendors, it is cost you pay out for technology and so on. It is service consumption by the target population which is benefit. Okay? And service delivery is actually 10% of the problem. I mean, all my friends on the dais spoke about the beautiful technologies which are there, which will ensure that service delivery happens very well. Okay? But that is only 10% of the problem. 90% of the problem is actually ensuring that service consumption happens in the way it should happen. And it is not the same. Let me assure you that just having good service delivery does not ensure that it is consumed equally effectively and leads to the outcomes that are desired. Okay. So, Sharma ji spoke about in the morning session, where in Maharashtra using the whole UID infrastructure, scholarship is being delivered to 15 lakh students. These 15 lakh students were in a situation a few years back where they were not sure on what date they are going to get their scholarship. They were not sure what amount they are going to get. And this was obviously affecting, their whole productivity, their performance, their motivation to put into their whole academic studies. That scenario has been now changed where just like salary, they are getting their scholarship on a fixed date of the month directly into their bank account. They very well know in advance what amount they are going to get. And that amount is fixed. It is cannot be changed by anybody. It is all electronic, all enabled by this whole UID infrastructure and so on. Now the outcome which has been achieved, so this is, it has been done at the lowest cost. Sharma ji spoke that, in a study done by the National Institute for Public Finance and Policy, they measured the ROI on this and they said there is a 53% ROI and so on. And mostly what we have seen is the focus of the government stakeholders and definitely of the whole IT ecosystem and community is more on efficient service delivery. So when we are saying we are delivering it at lowest cost with a lot of SLAs being measured, the application is off and so on and so forth, or a lot of ARAs are being measured. Whereas the insight which we have gained from the various e-governance programs we have done is effective service is about outcome measures. So let me try and give you some examples. Okay. I think most of us are used to our salaries coming into our bank accounts on a fixed date and a fixed amount. Okay. Imagine a situation where this amount is not fixed and this date is not fixed. Okay. How will that really affect the productivity, the performance, the motivation of each of us? I think Padiji has placed me in a difficult position, of being the last speaker and standing in between you and lunch probably. So I'll kind of try and keep it short so that I'm not delaying lunch for you. Like Padiji said, we have been involved in various e-governance projects, fortunately and thankfully in the state of Odisha itself and various other states. And we would like to share some insights about the whole effective service delivery, which is the topic of the whole session.
Actually monitoring real time and continuously and giving inputs as to where the improvements is to take place. We also talked about the entire life cycle of a IT project application, right from strategy to design to testing and operation and also continuous improvement. Basically, the IT application may fail because of variety of reasons, and these are the issues which at the end point, that is the CSE level or the common service center as we call it, or at the individual level, people face day in and day out. So to provide this IT application or design these applications, like at the state level or at the district level, who are managing the data centers, they need to look for this so that the failure time is less, and we try to match with the SLAs, and this technology help in actually monitoring as to where we are going wrong and how to improve that. Thank you. Now, here's the last speaker, Mr. Vidyesh Kanalkar of Mastec. Mastec is very much involved in the several applications, especially with the NAT.
Any IT service, and then we are actually monitoring it, it is very, very important to understand from which perspective we are monitoring the entire. And we are familiar with this kind of thing. We have also seen this being in the movies as well. It's all about, if I'm trying to visualize the entire application, what is my perspective, and am I able to visualize the other perspective? See, if I'm an end user of an application, what is my expectations, what is the kind of delivery that I would expect, and am I able to monitor in that context? This is a very, very critical thing when we look at the IT services program. So, talking about the silo-based management, the issue is every aspect in the IT is a specialized topic by itself. If you talk of network, if you talk of system, database, and there are people who specialize in this domain, and there are people who actually specialize into even a smaller part of within that domain. For example, if I am a database administrator, I would be specializing on how a database can be tuned to give a certain kind of response time. Similarly for the network side or the application. And usually when the systems are deployed in the production, they are monitored, there are vendors who actually keep monitoring the entire set of infrastructure elements. And they keep churning out the report saying that my infrastructure was available for 20%, my web server was 99%, my database was 99.9%. But coming back to the aspect of perspective, if you look at the end user part of it, the perspective is for some time when the network was slow, I got impacted. For some time when the database had a problem, I got impacted. And similarly when the web server went down, I got impacted. So it is something we built over a period of time and been offered. We heard UID, the entire session of the UID, how it is important, how the entire services based on the UID can be offered to various citizens and various applications. The entire success is based on how effective it is delivered to the end consumers. It could be the bank, or it could be various authorities like government officials who want to offer services to it. Such applications, the criticality is in the delivery part of it. And if I have to represent the entire architecture in a different way, just to make it more simple, just look at this kind of a diagram where we have an application and we have intermediary components, and eventually an end user or someone who needs a basic service like that. The entire service is not just an application or not just the network or not the data center components. It is all of them put together. They form part of one service. So the effectiveness is only when everything is going to act like one. Otherwise, there will be like silos. Application will be designed, but network is not designed to take care of such applications. Similarly, these reason services centers or the outlets or the web-based systems, they are not really designed to deliver the end application like that. So unless the end-to-end approach is kept in mind, the effectiveness is not achieved. So that is something very important. And usually, if there are situations like that, we would come up with a situation where I'm trying to do some transaction on the web and I'm facing issues. We have seen many things like this when there is a surge in the demand. So for example, usually on education portals, when you're trying to register for exams, and on a given day there's a deadline and everyone is trying to get onto the portal, or maybe there's a result announcement and you go to get on the site. Suddenly there's a surge of number of users on that, and you find a situation like that. So what I mean to say over here is the effectiveness is it is being visualized, and it is the way it is designed in the ideal state, and looking at what is going to be the load of the system, what is going to be the sub requirement, and how effectively it is being delivered right now. So the end-to-end effectiveness is very important. Now, when we look at a typical IT landscape of any application, most recent applications, which we call it as a 3-tier kind of application. This is how it looks like. The end users, the network, and all the perimeter security, and then it enters the network data center. And so usually whenever there is a situation like that, you have issues like the IT is struggling to find out what is actually wrong. Who's the set of users who are impacted? Is the authentication system slow? Is the backend system slow? Is the database having problem? These are all the set of questions that are being coming up. And And there's actually more like a war, or maybe war of words that everyone saying that I'm okay, maybe something else is wrong or something else. So if you look at it, the end effectiveness gets really impacted in terms of the end user like in the entire process. And the effectiveness is as effective if you are able to quickly find out the importance of the entire and then be able to deliver. It's an honor to be part of the eODISHA event and also an opportunity to present my views. And my colleagues have spoken about security, the technologies to ensure that the actual service delivery can happen from connecting in the form of residential. My views will be more concentrated on availability and the delivery of the service. So the concept about usage of IT delivery is not very new. Specifically in India, we have seen a lot of organizations have been using this, and we are a lot of consumers of such services, and we have been used to a lot of things like banking, travel portals, mobile, and all these technologies. And similarly, when we talk of e-governance, IT would play and is playing an important role in effective service delivery to the citizens. So we as citizens who would want to consume a lot of services which is offered in the form of electronics is being made available because of the technologies that we have heard some of the technologies which are available, how we can build certain applications so that a service can be made available to the citizens. If you look at the typical structure or the infrastructure aspects of any e-governance platform, specifically when we look at the kind of e-governance NDP program, how it is thought about or visualized, you look at the locations like state data center where these applications are hosted, you have the state wide area network, the means to connect the entire SDC based applications onto the CSCs, which is the place where we can go and take services from. The overall three important components which form part of this entire delivery. So any application that we think of in the state or even at the national level, it would be in this kind of a mode of setup where it would be hosted in one of the data centers.
When we are designing the e-governance projects, and also when we are securing the data, STQC certification is now mandatory. But again, security is a evolving aspect. When you secure something, somebody tries to break that, and again you have to see that more and more security features are brought in, because unless the data is secured, the public will lose trust in the government, because the government and public, the relationship is one of trust, and if the data of the individual citizen is with the government, individual expects that it will be maintained properly and it will not be misused and it will not be hacked. So I think very useful presentation and inputs. Now I would request Sri Jignesh Upadhyay of CA Technologies to kindly make his presentation. Mr. Upadhyay. Learning experience for most of the participants. I hope Mr. Taggi touched upon a very sensitive issue of data security. There is no doubt the data that many government departments have is very valuable to many other people who do not have access to that, and often we hear that there is a breach, and because of the breach certain data has been taken away and it has been misused. He showed example of how sensitive the data can be in 3 different applications, and these are very sensitive if we do not secure data. The concept of data security, instead of perimetric security, he talked about data-centric security. The data itself needs to be secured. He talked about
it can be achieved is data confidentiality can be achieved by using cryptography or encryption-based technologies. You can encrypt the data and then you can protect the confidentiality of the data. Integrity we can have via digital signing. Via digital signing, you can feel assured that if something changes, the recipient should know. that something has been changed in between. Thirdly, the non-repudiation. It also can be achieved via digital signing. Lastly, authenticity can be achieved via certificate-based verification. So all these four can be achieved via cryptographic technologies, encryption and encryption processes. So what encryption gives us is, encryption is an essential process to protect sensitive data, provide risk management and ease proof of compliance. We have encryption in place in most of the projects, but the thing which is very important is, wherever we are using encryption technologies, there is a key behind each and every encryption solution, which has to be used to provide encryption, signing, etc. So that key needs to be secured. So we have encryption in place in most of the projects, but we don't understand the importance of the key. There should be relevant or best key management solution should be placed to provide the security of these keys. So now to summarize my session and takeaway from the session can be, we are in the world of consumerization of IT. There is shift in physical service delivery models to electronic service delivery models. And on top of it, cloud is coming. So we are in an era of cloud. So all these three things, what it shows is we are living in an increasingly complex threat landscape. Threats are increasing day by day as we are adopting new technology and going towards cloud. So to tackle those kind of security threats, we need to adopt a new approach. We need to have different mindset altogether. Sole perimeter security is no longer enough for this. It is required, very much required, but not only this. Because breaches will happen and we must prepare differently. We need to make data the new perimeter. Once that is done, we can feel assured, and the technology, encryption technology is being used, key management solution has been used. We can feel assured that we have a secured infrastructure. Lastly, security is a ongoing process, and it should be there. It should be induced in each and every project, right from the initial stages. And also, we should be proactive in our approach. We should secure the breach and not start securing after the breach. So with that, I close my session. Thank you very much for your time. I'm here. Let me know if you need any inquiry or anything you want to ask. Thank you very much. The parties involved, or this data, if is published on any of the websites, will that make any difference for the parties involved? That is the citizen, the data is inside the database, or the organization is holding the data. Similarly, if we take an IPLS scenario, if somebody queries the system to show list of people with highest number of properties, if that is achieved, does it facilitate someone with criminal mindset to use this or misuse this information? Secondly, if that information is published anywhere on a website or some public portal, will it make any difference? Yes, it will affect definitely to the citizen and also to the department, because the citizen will lose some data, will lose some money or something else, but organization will lose the trust. And for the electronic service delivery, trust is a major factor. So that needs to be maintained so that more and more people come up for these kind of electronic service delivery services. So to stop this kind of misuse scenarios, we should first know that in which ecosystem, what kind of ecosystem we are working in, what are the threats we are into. Some are known threats which we already take care. Generally, these kind of threats are already there in each of the projects. We are tackling these threats in a very good way. But there are certain threats on data or application which is not there, which is there in some of the projects, but some of the projects are lacking in this. So, and to secure the data is very, very important. So for known threats, what philosophy we work on, and how we secure the known threats, we go as a perimeter-centric approach. The philosophy behind it is keep the bad guys out, trust people inside the perimeter, and assume sensitive data does not reach the perimeter. But that is not the case now in the electronic service delivery model. So, for electronic service delivery model, the security should be data-centric. And what philosophy in the data-centric should be, trust no one and assume bad guys are already in. Research already shows that most of the breaches happen from the insiders. So if this is the philosophy, we can have a robust security infrastructure. What benefits it provides, data-centric security it provides is you have secure data freedom, you have privacy of data, and if all the layers fails, then you have the ultimate defense at the data-centric level. What we say is solution should focus on the data and not just on the systems holding the data. So each and every level of security is required, whether it is physical security, whether it is network security, perimeter security, identity and access management, and the data-centric security. But the approach should be data-centric. That is how we can secure the lots of data we have in our databases. As already mentioned, we have world's largest database in our country. And there are a number of databases in different projects which I had already mentioned in my previous slides. So while going to the data-centric approach, the objective of our approach should be, we need to secure data confidentiality, we need to secure integrity of the device information, we need to have non-reputation in transactions, and the authenticity. What does this mean here is, and these are the data elements we have inside this projects, inside the databases or going from the application or using these things, using this data. As far as CCTV is concerned, there are criminal details, there are armed position details, passport verification details. Similarly, in the treasury part, there is accounting information of employees, government employees, pensioner data. Similarly, in IPRS, there are property details. So, do we think that these are the important information, sensitive information? If somebody unauthorized get hold of such kind of information, he can misuse it? Yes, definitely. And what can be the misuse scenarios? So, just to give you some examples of the misuse scenarios. One of the scenarios can be somebody query the system to show the top 10 transactions by value in the last 10 days. With respect to treasury, you can take an example. So it shows some of the data elements which are sensitive and need to be protected. But there can be a lot more with respect to the different projects we are dealing with. So it can be password information, it can be physical information, it can be medical records of any citizen, biometric information which is there in each and every database right now. So these are some of the elements which are sensitive and which needs to be protected. It is very important in this. So there should be effective security measures to be taken and to be adopted for the security of the data. So why any cyber attack can be planted on any of the infrastructure, any of the project infrastructure? What is the risk? The risk is we are at risk because we have data and our data is profitable. So any cyber attacker will go for this data and wants to have this data for its wrongful means. My presentation to the data security aspects in electronic service delivery, because we are going from governance to governance. They are electronic means we are taking, and they are not many precise data now. They are in consolidated form in data centers that needs to be secured. So I will focus on the data security aspect. To start with, what we are getting from when we are moving from governance to e-governance. First of all, visibility. Previously, the data was scattered, was in physical files in stores. But now we can have another configured data and we can have that data from a single dashboard. So it gives us visibility. Secondly, efficiency comes up because we have data available anytime, everywhere. So previously we were having manual processes. Now we are moving to electronic service deliveries, so we can track everything from a point of any kind of workflow or status. Thirdly, and very much important, which is required, is analytics. Previously we were not having information on the real-time basis. Now we can have information real-time and we can analyze those information and use that analysis for useful purposes. But from going from governance to e-governance, there are some trade-offs also. So when we were having data or the information in physical form, that is in files, it was very hard to steal that data. Means you need to search lots of files from the physical source and then only can find the data. So it becomes very tedious to steal any kind of data. It gives engineering security in this, but the availability was not there, which is very important if we want to provide services for each and every people and to each every part of the country. So that is why e-governance can come in, and now we have availability of the data, visibility of the data.
With the e-governance and service delivery, but also how do we use them for analysis, for using the data what is available intelligently and coming out with solutions to provide effective service in time that citizen demands. Demands of citizen has been increasing, expectation has been increasing. They expect similar efficiency from the government that private sector is providing, and with the kind of machinery processes we have in the government, we need to go for not only process engineering but also technology. Thank you. Now I will request Mr. Anubhav Tyagi of SafeNet India Private Limited to make a presentation. Mr. Tyagi.
Their program. So all the government, as long as we know there's a desire to pass on the benefit to the citizen and expedite the technology like railway or neighborhood. So let's just get. While we talk about basic fundamental here, digitization, process automation, post delivery. Okay, now majority of states in security and the dynamics are looking for an operation center. So we have a solution called Intelligent Operation Center, which actually makes sense. Either it is making it city smarter, putting somebody at a chief secretary level or a senior mayor level. They want or a level in any department head. They want to get a view of how my city is performing. Is the water distribution happening properly? Is the electricity being distributed accordingly? Is there any public safety issue here? Is there any dharna going on? So for them, get a view of the complete city view, people are adopting this. Not only smarter cities, there are many other examples. Take example of traffic, take example of stadium management. Stadium itself is a huge complex to manage, and there are lots of agencies involved, police involved, hospitals involved, traffic involved. So idea is that, and disaster management is another area where organizations are using it. So fundamentally we are saying, while the security curve is building up, while you are building the application, but are we having a complete command and control center view? And there is a lot of evolution we have observed in the last 4-5 years. Be traffic, be hospitals, campuses, everywhere. Fundamentally resources are scarce. Okay, the limited resources. So somebody has to keep tab on it, somebody has to see how efficiently they can deploy it till the month ahead. So as we talked about the examples of the city command control center, traffic management, disaster, public transport, everywhere actually they can use it. And across organizations, they are using it. A city in Philippines, Davao city, they are using it for public safety. A leading Indian private hospital using it for campus security. A stadium like that, they are using it. In China City province, they are using it for intelligent transport management. So everywhere, these kinds of challenges are there, and the desire to service it to electronic media or media are purely influenced. Another interesting point I want to bring here in education. Those are very simplistic example, but its impact is harder actually. So we have observed in many schools today with a lot of innovation and movement. We have observed the content is being distributed. So schools are also going for a smart classroom kind of model where a lot of intelligent content is to be distributed to the schools. So, and by the way, content is the livelihood of many of the content providers. They can't afford to let it go in the wrong hand. So there are solutions like smart content transfer. Rather than people sending it on CD, there are automation available on this. Automatically at one single place, I can distribute to the multiple schools securely and they can do it. A very simple example, but it applies to many scenarios today in treasury, commercial taxes, banks, urban development, wherever you're getting a lot of payments going to banks and reconciliation is required, there are a lot of manual work is being done. So they require some kind of a secure mode of file transfer, data transfer, and some kind of transformation. Okay, so last point to my section on public safety. So while we have a separate section of public safety, but just to one or two slides, we want to highlight the need of it. Public safety is a very, very critical component of, and also a reflection of any city or state character. Okay, how effectively those aspects are taken care. So in this illustration, we are showing the police, but it can apply to defense, it can apply to financial. Fundamentally, we are talking about what it's like agents or other MIS based on input gathering projects are happening in the country. Aspect. So we covered areas like universal access. So for a citizen, he can go to the universal access, he can get all the email calls number, he can apply all that stuff. Then to the program management, we can ensure that delivery is engineered and then the outcome management. So if we look at it, the government departments which are doing so great work in terms of passing benefits. So some of the examples like social welfare, human child, everywhere some schemes or other benefits are being passed. But yeah, are we actually leveraging this potential? Is the electronic service delivery ensuring that it's going and being passed in the way that is expected? This is where technology probably will work as an enabler. So that's the message we are trying to give. It's not like there is no benefits available. How do we expedite the delivery of the benefits through technology like that? So some of the governments who are doing across, this is a recent acquisition to IBM, a lot of examples are worldwide. For example, in New York City, citizens can go to school as they require. So that's the reason governments are going for these case approach models. Okay? So IBM has been helping many organizations and a technology and solutions like case manager, which is an end-to-end single platform enterprise model solution, can actually help to achieve that. So, just to illustrate it, this is an example of a e-district where somebody has to get a domicile certificate. So, the application and all the supporting documents you can see in one place. So, the person who is issuing a domicile certificate, he need not look around because information is available at one single place. He can complete view of it. He can also see the comments by the seniors. He can also add those comments. So fundamentally, we are talking about a means to deliver electronic service at the doorstep and much more expedited way. So another thing is that I think it is more important for any government. I think the tendency view. The speed at which people are working, who is probably not working in the case. All of those things require a real-time view. Okay, so these case management kind of tools give you that real time. The passport is moving from one desk to another. Who is sitting on it? Who is not working on it? The ration card issuance has to be taken care in 5 days. SNS, beat that. In this example, we are probably seeing more than 5 days of delay. There are around 46 cases that are pending. So why all of that encourages the, I would say, performance-driven organization of the culture, it also keeps a tab on where you need some more push, where you need more improvement. So that's the second part of it. One is the installation, another is process automation. And most of the governments across India and outside, they are using these benefits. So postal department, in fact, one of the states in India, Department of Factories and Boilers, to issue those licenses to the factories to come on the price, they are being done through these kinds of technologies. A leading bank in India, a huge number of branches, they are automating it. Visa processing exercise by private organizations, they are being delivering. So everybody realizes that to expedite the service, I need the information. I need the information that I need it and the intelligence platform is that. Okay, so here are some examples. Moving on to the next level. Okay, while we talk about the general automation, we talk about general digitization, we talk about the process automation. There are specific requirements as far as it is social and health. Okay, how do we actually drive the social delivery of it? Now, before I move on to the technology, let's quickly understand a very social kind of view. What are required for social and health? In a very simplistic way, if I'm a citizen, I need to interact with government, I need to find my way through which I know what are the schemes available. Okay, so citizens need to have a single window or a gateway through which I can get to know that. Once I understand that these are my schemes applicable to me, then I render my data. Okay, so government captures that, okay, maybe I'm asking for, let's say I don't have a job, give me some money, give me some benefit. So government needs to ensure that, oh, citizens should be providing me this, are you really not working? Do you have a family member only? Do you have a commercial connection, giving me money? So all of that information I can capture. And then there's a programmatical approach. I need to validate it. Probably I need to go to labor department, I need to go to vehicle department to ascertain the fact that clothing is correct. Okay, and then as a programmatical approach, I deliver the service back there. Not only the service delivery, but also the outcome needs to be better. There are two things where government, and I think some of the governments across, they are taking care of the outcome also. So for example, if I am a person from the IT organization, I go to the job, so government will say, okay, I can give you this job, but for that, you need to do a course. You need Java course need to be done. So they suggest you a course to be done, but they also follow you to the outcome. Have you done the course in 15 days? Have you finished it? So this entire exercise of perfect delivery requires these aspects. Citizens will be able to get these details, you should render the data, it should be programmed, and it should be outcome managed. So there is a be taking care if a person from Kashmir needs to travel back to so all of those information need to be looked upon in our process and those to be turned off in a regular fashion. Now, see, if you, by this slide, I'm only trying to highlight the fact that while we talk about automation, there are challenges. For passport to be issued, if you see, there is a process involved there, right? There are three people. How do I actually provide the infrastructure and electronic delivery while you don't run around to get a government health certificate, you don't run around to birth certificate, you don't run. So examples could be many. I mean, we're talking about form, it's a small form, urban development, there are taxes. There are many examples where the information needs to be digitized and captured. So the message we are trying to give us the intelligent capture is not about that somebody is manually doing all those paper scanning and building it on top of it, but we are talking about the intelligent part of it. How smartly I can actually run through a lot of documents and automatically pick up the data. Okay? So that's what the differentiation in terms of effective and smarter electronic delivery comes. So one is the digitalization part of it, okay? And we have seen examples across where you can apply government, transportation, everywhere you have paper and everywhere you have requirement to digitize it and move that information during the course of their process. So, we're not talking about the product yet, but just to give an idea about it, any organization which is going for an automated electronic digitization or a knowledge-based mode, they need to have few fundamentals in place. They need to have the documents to be captured electronic, which is the left side. They need to have that information to be stored in a repository, which is our storage and mechanics. Obviously, once the data is electronically digitized, somebody has to make use of it. You cannot just store it. It has to be used as a part of the process. My travel claim, my expenses, my leave, all of those things, I need to make use of it. So we work to kind of process data with it. And all that stuff. So this is a very fundamental kind of I would say, solution which can work for continuous automation, which can work for code, which can work for any kind of basic DMS-based analysis. Just to start. Another area which I think we have seen a lot of initiative projects coming up. Passport seva, NCA, commercial taxes, everywhere I think there are needs to actually expedite the delivery. One is the back-end operation, one is the back-end operation automation lead to the citizen delivery. So there is a need requires cross-industry collaboration. This requires a lot of information to be leveraged and a lot of acts to be done. So there are significant demand centers coming up. Okay, my welcome back. Thank you very much, sir, for having I think pretty tone for this session. It's basically translated to the IT maturity level in various states and government. And what I am going to talk to is that some of the application scenarios which probably can be adopted as a part of the electronic delivery. So, without wasting much time, so let's start with it. So actually, I am not sure how many of you have seen IBM Smart Planet kind of ads or Smart Cities for ads. So today, across the government, the leaders are actually trying to innovate services and they're trying to work towards ensuring the citizen expectations are met. I mean, all of us today are talking and expecting from the government, I think corporate. Everybody has expectation in terms of service delivery. Be it in terms of any certificate issuance or any services or any railways, all that areas. I think all citizens are expecting the services as in corporate world. So some of the key fundamentals of any citizen services or electronic services delivery board, we are trying to capture it. Government agency administration, urban planning, environment, energy, transport, education, public safety. These are the key areas for a citizen where the citizen gets most impacted. And if you look at the right side, the planning, management, infrastructure, human are the three components. You need to have the fundamental infrastructure in place. If you're talking about the IT as a backbone, that's one area. If you're talking about otherwise the infrastructure, the basic infrastructure, that's also need to be placed. You need to have capability to deliver to the human through social services program and technology and tools are being, I would say, available to do so. So while we all understand that these are the key areas, I want to very quickly take the storyboard how we can actually adopt electronic delivery on those fundamental areas. So if you a digitally signed document shall be the only mode of delivery of the record of rights of the land. Now, unless you move to a completely electronic system, both the parallel systems will not really coexist, and even if they coexist, then the propensity is that the manual system will prevail for the vested interest, and therefore if you want to cut them out, it's necessary that you adopt the digital, electronic, secure means of certification. And today we have a number of experts on this area, and I would not take much of your time. I now invite Mr. Naval Khosla. Mr. Khosla is the General Manager of the Government Industry Solutions at IBM. Mr. Khosla and the champions also kind of moved away, and it again reverted back to a physical mode. So in order to ensure that physical mode is no more acceptable, many state governments have gone in for a completely digital mode. So for example, let's take the land records. Many states when they started putting land records, and Odisha is certainly one of those states which were the prime movers, and Mr. Pani was here, I remember he was very keen to take up the land records computerization. ICT in various development programs, they said we cannot switch over to a completely electronic mode, and therefore even the non-electronic mode, which is the physical mode, was also allowed. Unfortunately, what happened was, in the process in many of these programs, this electronic mode remained only pilot. It also necessitates that you use electronic gateways to deliver services. This is important because essentially we have had systems of the delivery systems. So essentially today the climate is extremely favorable for making this is actually very important. because the entire, what is e-governance? E-governance is essentially using ICT towards better, more efficient, more transparent, more responsive governance. And now, fortunately, the tools are available to make this happen. And there are a lot of developments that are taking place. Imagine India is one country with about 900 million mobile phones. And growing at, I don't know what rate, 1 million per month or something like that. So it is actually, it can become an extremely powerful vehicle for delivering services in remote rural areas. So essentially you have the necessary infrastructure to make that happen. Fortunately you have the connectivity as one of the more important infrastructures. You are now having an optical fiber cable network. You have a state data center under the National E-Governance Program.
Mr. Anubhav Tyagi, Senior Solution Specialist, SafeNet India Private Limited. May we have some silence in the hall, please? I request all of you to kindly be seated. Take your position because we are going to begin the next session very soon. We also have two more speakers for this session. Mr. Jignesh Upadhyay, Director of Technical Sales, CA Technologies, and Mr. Vidyesh Vittal Khanolkar, Head, Insurance and Government Business, Asia Pacific, India and Middle East, Mastech Limited. I request this session chair and all the speakers for this session to kindly come up on the dais, please. Beginning with Mr. R.S. Sharma, please. Pari ji, Mr. Naval Khosla, welcome to the dais, sir. Mr. Anubhav Tyagi, Mr. Jignesh Upadhyay, and Mr. Vidyesh Vittal Khanolkar ji. I now hand over the session to our session chair, Mr. R.S. Sharma.